Hey guys, this is Mr. H. Hey, I wanted to do a video on using nSolve. Basically, what I wanted to do is I wanted to show you when you can use nSolve. Most of you know how to use it, but a lot of you don't recognize when you can use it. So that's the goal with these videos. I'm going to do a series of videos. I'm going to try to keep them short, maybe 5 to 6 minutes, but I'm just going to do several examples. So if you look at my iPad, the first thing you should see is that you always are looking for equations. You have to have an equation, and usually that's going to be an equal sign. And you also have to have one variable. If you have one variable and an equal sign, then you can always use nSolve. Now, if you don't see those things, here are some other hints that will tell you that you could use nSolve. One of them is if you see the word solve or solution or algebraically, those words usually indicate that you are solving something, so you could probably use nSolve. The other time that you can use nSolve is when you generate the equation yourself. Once you've generated the equation, you can use nSolve to solve it. Okay, so I'm going to focus this part one on just doing that. So here's the first thing you see here. And what you should see here is I have an equation. Let me pull the calculator up real quick. Get the calculator. So what you see here is I have the equation 2 plus 3 times 2a plus 1 equals 3 times a plus 2. So what you should see is that it has an equal sign. It also has the word solution, and it has one variable. So I can use nSolve. So it's going to be menu 31. And then you just type in the equation. So it's going to be 2 plus 3 parentheses 2a plus 1 close the parentheses equals 3 times parentheses a plus 2. And then once you do that, close the parentheses. And the last thing you always do is going to be comma, and whatever the variable is that you're solving for. In this case, this example is a, so you would put that. Now you see that it's a decimal. If you see a decimal, all that means is there's no decimals here, they're all fractions. What you should realize is that this is a repeating decimal, so you know it's rational. And that means that we can convert it into a ratio or a fraction. So if we do menu 22, it's going, well, let me do it the way that you should do. Copy this, and then do menu 22, and then press enter. And it tells you that the answer is 1/3. So that's how you use nSolve. You're always looking for equal signs, one variable. All right, let's look at another example. All right, this one. This is in the constructor response section, so you have to actually show your work. Now, it says solve it algebraically. So you should be, okay, I can use nSolve. Also, if you look, the equation has an equal sign and it has one variable. So you definitely can solve it. Now, the only thing that you have to pay attention to in this example, they said, I want an exact value. Whenever it says I want an exact value, all that means is there can't be any decimals. You have to make it into a fraction. Okay, so once you realize that, we're going to do menu 15, get rid of this stuff, and then we're going to do menu 31, and then we're going to nSolve it. So it's going to be 6 minus control divide, and then it's going to be 2/3. And then we use parentheses. It's going to be x plus 5. Close the parentheses equals 4x. Okay, so that's what you have. And then, of course, you got to put comma x. Now, once you do that, you're going to get this. Now, this question was also on the benchmark that we just took. a lot of students didn't see that this was a repeating decimal, which means that it's a rational number. So what I want to do is I want to make sure this is clear. Now, if you copy this, you can see that the repeating decimal, it goes 571428, and then it starts over 571428, and then it does 57. And of course, we don't have enough digits to keep going, but the calculator is trying to tell you that this is repeating decimal. So you should know that this is a rational number. And of course, to make it into a rational number, you just do menu 22 and then press enter. So the answer for this would be x equals 4/7. So if I go back to my iPad, you can see x equals 4/7. That's the answer. Now, if you just put the answer, you're going to get 1 point. This is a 2-point question, so you're going to get 50% just using nSolve. And because we made it into a fraction, we're good to go. Okay. Now, let's go next one. Okay, this is a quadratic equation, and they want us to solve it. It has that keyword solve it, and it also has an equation with one variable. It doesn't matter that you have a square term and a linear term, that's an x squared and just the x term. Those are still the same variable. So we have one variable. So we can definitely nSolve this. So what we're going to do, let's get rid of this, menu 15. And so now we're just going to take this and we're going to go menu 31. It's going to be x squared plus x minus 5 equals 0. And then, of course, is comma x. Press enter. Oh, we got an error. Let's go back and see what that is. It says variable not defined. Let me, I'm struggling to see this. Oh, I put a y in there. Should have been an x. Sorry about that. So this is just going to be x. Put an x there. Put another y. What am I doing? Put an x there and then press enter. And it tells us that the solution is 1.79. So we're supposed to round that to the 10th place. So the 7 is in the 10th place. You look to the right. So 9 is greater than 5. So we're going to round this. We're going to add 1 to 7, and that's going to be our answer. So our answer for this one would be 1.8. Now, what you guys should know is that since this is a quadratic, it normally has 2 solutions. So we have to find the other solution, or we at least have to check to see that there's another solution. So what we're going to do is, let me make this bigger so you can see it. So what we're going to do is we're just going to copy this, and we're going to give the calculator a different starting point. So we're going to say start at 100 and find another solution for us. And you see that it comes back with the same solution. So what you should do now is say, okay, let's go to the negative side and see if there's a solution over there. So all I'm going to do is I copied it, and I'm going to put a negative here, and then I'm going to press enter again. And now I get the other solution, and it's a negative 2.79. So I'm going to round that to a negative 2.8, and that would be our answers. So if we go back, you see that the two answers are 1.8 and a negative 2.8. Now, if we did this is 2 points. It didn't say we had to do it algebraically. It just said solve to the nearest 10th, and we did. So that would be that. Now, let's see what else we have here. Okay, here's another problem that we can use nSolve on. And again, the way that you know is, first of all, it tells us that we have an equation here. It also gives us an equation with one variable, and they're saying which one of these answer choices has the equivalent solution. So again, we can nSolve the original equation and then look at the choices and see which one has the same solution. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go menu 15. I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm going to solve the original equation. So I'm going to go menu 31. This is going to be x squared minus 12x, and then minus 10 equals 0. And then, of course, you got a comma X. And then I press enter. And it tells me that the solution, let me make sure everyone can see that, is a negative 0.782329. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through, and for each answer choice, I'm going to solve it and solve it. So let's do it. Menu 31. And the first one is parentheses. Now, remember, you want to put the exact equation in. Don't change anything. So the first choice is x plus 6, parentheses squared, equals a negative 26. And then I put comma x. And I get no solution found. So that means there's no solution. So that's not the answer. I can cross option 1 off. Right. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy that. And I'm just going to change the negative 26. I'm going to change that to 46. And then I'm going to try that. Now, this looks close. This looks close, but it doesn't have a negative. So even though these have all the other numbers match, it's not the same. This is a negative and this is a positive. So that's also not the solution. That's not the one. So I'm going to cross the second one out. And then I'm just going to go up and copy this. That's the third choice. And I'm going to change the plus to a negative or to a minus. So let's see. Let me make this a little larger so everyone can see exactly what I'm doing. Delete. And I'm going to put a minus in there. And now and again, it says no solution found. So it's not the third one. So by the process of elimination, I know the answer is 4, but I'm going to go ahead and check it just to show you. So I'm going to make this 46, and then I press enter. And as you can see, this matches the original. It has a negative. Everything looks good. If you go up and look at the original one, you can see that they both match exactly. So that would be our answer, and we keep it moving. So that's how you use nSolve. This is the basic way that you would use nSolve. There's nothing tricky about it. All you're doing is when you see an equation with one variable, you can solve it. Now, there's one more example that I want to do. So let me get to that. Now, this is a two-way table, two-way frequency table. Now, we've been doing this. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up with an equation. So it says determine to the nearest percent the percentage of girls who voted for splashdown. Now, this is what you should do anytime you have these questions. So after the you're going to put total, because we want the total girls. So our equation is going to be x over 100, because that's what percent. And then it's going to be is over of. Now, remember that. So we got the of part is going to be total girls. So it's going to be x over 100 equals, and what's the total number of girls? Well, it's 39 plus 46 plus 37. That's everything down here, okay? Now, in order to find the top, the is part, we're just going to find where these two intersect. So we got girls and we got splashdown. So we're going to go girls this way, and we're going to go splashdown this way. Where they intersect, that number, 46, is going to go on the top. So now that I've got this equation, I can nSolve it. So I'm going to go menu 15, get rid of all of the stuff. And then I'm going to go menu 31. And then I'm just going to type in my equation. So it's going to be control divide. It's going to be x over 100. And then it's going to be equal. And then I'm going to do control divide again. And this is going to be 46. And it's going to be 39 plus 46 plus 37. And then again, that's the equation. And then you put comma x, and then you press enter. And what we have here is let me do this again. I can't see these little numbers. So this should have been 100, not 111. It should have been 100. And now when I do it, you see it's 37.7, and we're supposed to round this to the nearest percent. So the first 7 is the the whole number, and then you would go to the decimal. And since this is greater than 5, it's going to get rounded up to 38%. That would be our answer. So let's go here. And our answer would be 38%. So again, once you get your equation, you can nSolve it. So that's it. That's the basic way that you would be using nSolve. Always look for equations, equal sign one variable, but also look, if you create an equation, you can nSolve that. All right, I'm going to wipe this up and I'm going to post it.